Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another Dirtbike magazine video. Today we're going to check out the 2025 off-road cross-country bike buyer's guide. Now we know some of the 2026 models are already starting to show up, but that means they're showing up. They're not on the showroom floor. So we figured let's go over the 2025 models and what's available right now. Let's get into this. First up, the AJP SPR510 and SPR310. They go for $9,499 and $8,999. The 2024 model is shown here. If the AJP SPR510 motor looks familiar, it's because you probably saw it in a Husqvarna model in the not so distant past. SWM in Italy supplies AJP with the motors that were sold under the Husky name prior to 2013. The SPR510 chassis, on the other hand, is like nothing else on the market. It's a hybrid design that uses both steel and aluminum. The suspension is Sachs and the brakes are Brembo. Next, the Sherco 500 SEF and 450 SCF, $12,799 and $12,599. Sherco is a French manufacturer that is well known for its two-strokes and trials bikes. But the first big four-stroke in the company line has a long list of achievements, including the 2020 AMA Enduro Championship under Grant Baylor. It also has a history of success in Dakar. For 2025, all the Sherco off-road bikes get a new frame and redesigned bodywork. Weight loss was a big focus, whereas the basic chassis geometry didn't stray too far away from the existing design. The Beta 480RR and 430RR race, $11,399 and $11,299. The race models in Beta's line are the elite versions of their off-road four-strokes and borrow much from the new 450RX motocross bike. The engine cases are new and have finally lost the provision for the Kickstarter. The race models come with KYB suspension and a number of anodized bits and pieces. The 480RR and the 430RR are most identical aside from displacement, which is derived from a 5mm increase in bore for the 480. The Beta 480RR and 430RR X Pro, $10,599 and $10,499. Beta says that the models carrying the X Pro name are dedicated to single-track trails. They come equipped with Sachs suspension and Nissan brakes. For 2025, they get a new frame similar to the one developed for the 450RX motocross bike. They did not receive the new engine cases and therefore still have a provision for a Kickstarter if you don't trust the button. The 480RR and 430RR are almost identical aside from displacement. Next, the GasGas EC450F, $11,549. GasGas has trimmed its offerings for 2025. Carrying the bulk of the company's large displacement workload is the EC450F. This is primarily designed as a trail bike with a headlight, cushy suspension settings, and a softer exhaust note. But all the core elements are the same as the MC450F motocross bike. The front suspension is the spring version of the WP Exact Fork. This year, it gets a more compliant frame, among other updates. Next, Honda CRF 450X, $9,999. When Honda released the CRF 450RL dual sport bike in 2019, the company also produced a dirtier version for full-time off-road riding. The CRF 450X has since accumulated an impressive record of wins in Baja. It has the same chassis and motor as the dual sport, but it's lighter and in a spicier state of tune. It's still fully EPA compliant and even makes the cut for a California green sticker. The Honda CRF 450RX, $9,999. The RX is a full-blooded competition bike with just 1 degree of separation from the Honda CRF 450R motocross bike. Like the MX model, it got a new frame for 2025 with different flex characteristics. It also has new fork clamps and an extensive list of changes, all aimed at improved handling. An 18-inch rear wheel, softer suspension, increased fuel capacity, off-road engine mapping, and handguards are among the features that give it off-road credentials. The Husqvarna FE450, $12,249. Husqvarna's largest displacement four-stroke off-road bike differs from the KTM version in a number of ways, starting with the fact that it has linkage suspension. The FE's frame is similar to that of the FC450 motocross bike, but with softer suspension. It also has a 6-speed gearbox and is in a milder state of tune than the MX bike. This year's Husqvarna off-road models are available in Blue Heritage editions, which is shown for $300 more. The Kawasaki KX450X, 450X, $10,699. Last year, Kawasaki unveiled a brand new KX450 motocross bike, and the X version was swept along with the same changes. It got a new chassis and connectivity with the Rideology smartphone app that allows you to alter fuel mixture and spark advance mapping. Unlike some of the other bikes, the KX450X comes with the connectivity module, so there are no extra expenses involved. The X also offers off-road suspension and features, but no additional fuel capacity. The KTM 450 XCF-W. $12,149. This is a true off-road bike, not a motocross bike with a kickstand. As such, the 450 XCF-W has PDS no-linkage rear suspension, resulting in increased ground clearance and a distinctive feel that most off-roaders love. The XCF-W also has a coil spring fork, 6-speed gearbox, off-road engine tuning, and 3.4 gallons of fuel capacity. It comes with an LED headlight, a tail light, an odometer, handguards, and an O-ring chain. The KTM 450 XCF, $12,199. This is the bike that has won virtually every race in the West for years, and has even made its mark in the GasGas XC1 Pro class. The 450 XCF is closely related to the SXF motocross bike, but has off-road suspension settings, increased fuel capacity, an 18-inch rear wheel with Dunlop AT71 tires, an O-ring chain, handguards, and a skid plate. It has the updated frame that the SX got for 2025. This year, it finally gets a 6-speed gearbox. The Yamaha WR450F, $10,199. Yamaha has made the newest version of the WR450F into a true trail bike with increased fuel capacity, a wide ratio gearbox, more electric capacity, and a super quiet exhaust note. The suspension is soft and the power delivery is smooth. The bike meets all the federal requirements as an off-road bike, but is not eligible for a California green sticker and is not even sold in California. In stock form, the bike has a throttle stop and an inner baffle. The Yamaha YZ450FX, $10,199. Yamaha has gone a step further than any other Japanese manufacturer in the creation of a cross-country race bike based on its 450 moto model. It has softer suspension like most of them, increased fuel capacity like some of them, off-road mapping like a few of them, and a wide ratio 5-speed gearbox like, well, none of them. The 450X is also compatible with the Yamaha Power Tuner smartphone app, which allows in-the-field engine tuning at no extra cost. The Beta 390RR 350RR Race, $11,199 and $11,099. Beta called these the race editions in the past. Now they dropped the word edition. They don't want to confuse people with the limited run special editions offered by other manufacturers. The race models use the new frame and engine cases developed for the 450RX motocross bike and have KYB suspension. They also get a new look for 2025. The Beta 390RR and Beta 350RR X Pro, $10,399 and $10,299. Beta's 4-strokes come in 4 different sizes and each has its own distinct personality. The 390 and 350 are the 2 smaller versions, even though they look virtually identical to the 430 and 480. The X Pro models are trail-oriented and have SAC suspension and Nissan brakes. They both get a new frame for 2025, but they retain the provision for a Kickstarter. That is a sold-as kit for $400. The GasGas EX350F, $11,199. GasGas has trimmed its lineup for 2025, and the 350 is now the big bike in its cross-country racing fleet. It's similar to the MC350F motocross bike, meaning it got a new, more compliant frame for 2025. It differs from the MX version with its coil spring closed cartridge fork, softer suspension valving, 6-speed gearbox, 18-inch rear wheel, Dunlop tires, O-ring chain, and kickstand. It does not come with a map switch in stock form. The Husqvarna FX350, $11,949. The Husqvarna FX350 is the one motorcycle to own for riders who can't stand the thought of only owning one motorcycle. It can be a motocross bike one weekend and a trail bike the next. It's similar to the FC350 motocross bike, but with a 6-speed gearbox and off-road equipment. Like Husky's other competition bikes, it has a slightly reduced seat height compared to the KTM and GasGas models. This year, there's a Blue Heritage Edition for $12,049. The KTM 350 XCF, $11,949. Caleb Russell single-handedly made the KTM 350 XCF into the winningest off-road racer east of the Mississippi. Even though Caleb retired, the 350 continues to win race after race, championship after championship. It has motocross level power with a 6-speed gearbox, off-road suspension, an 18-inch rear wheel, an O-ring chain, handguards, and a kickstand. For 2025, the 350 XCF gets a new frame and updated suspension. The Beta 300RR 250RR X Pro 2-strokes, $9,899 and $9,699. Beta opens a new chapter in 2025. The standard RR models are now called the X Pro editions. These have oil injection and a trail-friendly disposition. They feature a new frame with a 20mm lower seat height and an all-new single-spring front fork, elastomer handlebar mounts, a coolant reservoir, and a rescue strap on the front fender. The bodywork also has a new look. The Beta X-Trainer 2-stroke, $8,499. The X-Trainer, Beta pronounces it cross-trainer, is now in its 11th year of production and has been a sales success due to its low price and entry-level disposition. Compared to the standard 2-strokes in Beta's line, the X-Trainer has a low seat height, softer suspension, and gentler power delivery. It has a new look for 2025 with a distinctive gray theme. The GasGas EX300 and GasGas EX250 2-strokes, $10,749 and $10,449. GasGas is a blood brother to KTM and Husqvarna, but comes in a slightly lower pricing. Accordingly, the map switch costs extra, and a number of components like the brake tech hydraulics are different from those on the other Pierre brands. The EX line is aimed at cross-country racing, using the same updated frame as the motocross version. The GasGas EC300 and GasGas EC250 2-strokes, $10,799 and $10,499. These are the most trail-oriented models from GasGas. Compared to the EX cross-country racers and the MC motocross bikes, they have a smoother power delivery and softer suspension. They also feature oil injection. These models have the key and throttle body injection system, which is integrated with the electronic power valve. The Husqvarna TX300 2-stroke, $11,699. The Husky TX line has only one model for 2025, the TX300. This is the 2-stroke counterpart to the FX 4-stroke line and is aimed at cross-country racing. The TX has the newest generation of the throttle body fuel injection system and has a map switch for toggling between mild and wild power delivery. The gearbox is a 6-speed and the fork is the spring version of the WP Exact. The Husqvarna TE300 and TE250 2-strokes, $11,699 and $11,349. In the past, the differences between the trail-oriented TE models and the TX cross-country racer were subtle. Not now. The TE300 and 250 are much milder, softer, friendlier, and more appropriate for trail riding. They still have a map switch, so you can alter the power delivery between mild and aggressive. Later in the year, there will be a TE300 Pro Special Edition with upgraded accessories. The KTM 300XC and 250XC 2-strokes, $11,499 and $11,199. KTM has been refining its throttle body fuel injection system for almost 2 years, and now the latest version is in the 300XC and 250XC cross-country bikes. These models are 6-speed with linkage rear suspension and the spring version of the WP Exact fork. Unlike the XCWs, the 300 and 250 do not have oil injection. A map switch is standard equipment. The KTM 300 XCW and 250 XCW 2-strokes, $11,599 and $11,199. If you're a fan of PDS no linkage rear suspension, the XCW line has you in its crosshairs. These machines are designed for hardcore trail use, as well as extreme enduros, and feature oil injection. They also have throttle body EFI integrated with an electronic power valve. The XCWs have map switches to tailor the power delivery. There's a hard enduro special edition of the 300 XCW for $13,299. The Rieju 300 MR 6-day Spain 2-stroke, $10,699. For 2025, Rieju will be featuring an all-new 2-stroke motor across most of its line. That motor was revealed at the EICMA show in fall. The previous motor will be the last vestige of the GasGas off-road motorcycles that were developed in Spain prior to the Pierre acquisition. The Sherco 300 SEF 250 SEF, $12,499 and $11,699. The Sherco 250 SEF has the distinction of being the only 250 four-stroke that was designed as an off-road cross-country racer from the ground up. All the others were adapted for motocross models. This year, Sherco's engineers paid attention to the camshaft bearing cap, rev limiter, mapping, and Akrapovic exhaust. The chassis also lost weight and got new bodywork. The 300 is the same aside from the increase in displacement. The Sherco SE300 and SE250 factory two-strokes, $11,999 and $11,799. Sherco continues to make subtle refinements rather than complete makeovers. The SC300 and 250 still have electronic power valves and key and carburetors, but both have new bodywork for 2025. The handguards, the skid plate, and the instrument visibility have all been refined. The 250 also has a new gearbox that was designed and built in-house at the Nimes factory. The GPX TSE 300R and TSE 250R two-strokes, $6,899 and $5,699. GPX is a brand based in Utah and manufactured in mainland Asia. The TSE 250R has been around long enough to prove itself in terms of reliability, and the guys in Utah are here to stay. The bike features a 6-speed gearbox and what resembles an early 90s Yamaha motor. The chassis and bodywork have a distinct KTM look. Virtually all the components are well finished, but the price is the star of the show. The GasGas EX250F, $10,299. In the extended family of Pierre Mobility motorcycles, GasGas is considered the most affordable brand of the group. However, the EX250F is still more expensive than any of the 250 Japanese models. It has premium level components like WP suspension and the exact same motor and frame as the KTM 250 XCF. The suspension is a little softer than the KTM, and the GasGas doesn't get a map switch or handguards. The Honda CRF 250RX, $8,699. Honda gave all its competition bikes a new chassis for 2025. That means the CRF 250RX got a more rigid frame and numerous suspension upgrades. It also got a new airbox and new bodywork. To make it more off-road worthy, the RX got softer suspension, different mapping, more fuel capacity, handguards, a skid plate, an 18-inch rear wheel, and an O-ring chain with a kickstand. The Kawasaki KX250X, $9,999. Kawasaki didn't make an off-road community wait for the upgrades that the KX250 motocross bike got this year. The KX250X got all the same new parts. The frame is new, the bodywork is new, and the motor has numerous changes. The bike is also compatible with the new Kawasaki Rideology smartphone app, which allows riders to tailor the power band to their liking. That doesn't require the purchase of anything extra, just download and go. The KTM 250 XCF, $10,849. This is a full-blooded cross-country race bike that shares almost everything with the KTM 250 SXF motocross bike, including the frame, suspension components, and all the power-producing aspects of the motor. It differs in a few key areas: the 6-speed gearbox, the softer suspension setup, the 18-inch rear wheel, and a number of off-road accessories. There is no counterpart to this bike in the Husqvarna line. The Yamaha WR250F, $9,099. The WR250F has a completely new chassis for 2025, but it remains a true off-road bike, not a modified motocrosser. It has cushy suspension and a super quiet exhaust note. The bike meets all the federal requirements to be imported as an off-road bike, including those related to sound and emissions. In many states, it is commonly registered as a dual sport bike, but that requires some modification. In stock form, it does not have all the proper DOT equipment. The Yamaha YZ250FX, $9,099. Yamaha made revolutionary changes to the YZ450F in 2022. Last year, that revolution spread to the YZ250F motocross bike, and now it has finally made its way to the YZ250FX cross-country bike. The changes include a new frame, airbox, and bodywork. Unlike the motocross versions, the YZ250FX has a 6-speed gearbox. It also has a different power delivery system, softer suspension, and a short list of specialized off-road equipment. The Yamaha YZ250X two-stroke, $8,099. Yamaha made the YZ250 motocross bike into an off-road bike with a handful of well-targeted changes. It still has a 5-speed gearbox, but the gear ratios for 3rd, 4th, and 5th are taller. The cylinder head volume, compression ratio, exhaust port, ignition mapping, and power valve shape were all altered. Softer suspension, a kickstand, and a few other changes complete the transformation. The Beta 200RR X Pro 2-stroke, $9,499. If you've been around long enough, you remember when the 200cc 2-stroke was the king of the off-road world. The 200RR is an excellent tribute to that time. It got the X Pro rebranding for 2025 like all the other standard edition Beta off-road models. This has an electric start, oil injection, and sack suspension. For 2025, it has a lower seat height and new, slimmer bodywork. The Kawasaki KLX300R. Old-timers will remember this bike from the 90s when it was at the leading edge of 4-stroke technology. It recently returned as a play bike, but with fuel injection. It still has a dual overhead cam, liquid-cooled 4-valve motor with electric start and 6-speed gearbox. The price is actually reduced for 2025. The rear suspension is adjustable. There is also a dual sport version of this bike for $5,449. The GPX FSE 250E, $4,599. This Asian-built play bike has a distinct KTM vibe, but with an air-cooled motor. The chassis is steel with a central backbone and a fully adjustable shock connected directly to the swing arm, PDS style. The motor is a fuel-injected electric start 4-valver with single overhead cam. The fork is made by SCC and is fully adjustable. The full-size wheels have billet hubs with disc brakes. It comes with an LED headlight, but an MX number plate comes in the crate. The GPX FSE 250S, $2,999. The FSE 250S is available in 2 wheel sizes, a 1916 combo with a 32-inch seat height, and for $100 more, a 2118 combo with a 34.8-inch seat height. Both feature an air-cooled motor with 4 valves, an electric starter, and 6-speed gearbox. The S model features linkage suspension with an adjustable shock. Up front, it has a SCC fork. Both ends have disc brakes. The Honda CRF 250F, $4,999. The Honda CRF 250F is an old-school 4-stroke that has full-size wheels, but a reasonable seat height to appeal to less experienced riders. The motor is air-cooled and has electric start with fuel injection. The gearbox is 5-speed and the brakes are hydraulic. The F suffix on the end means this is a member of Honda's family-oriented 4-stroke line. The SSR XD250, $2,799. SSR is one of the most established importers of play bikes from mainland Asia. For 2025, the company has streamlined its offerings. The newest bike in its line is the XD250. This has an air-cooled electric start motor with a backup kickstart lever. The wheels are 16 inches in the rear and 19 inches in the front. The brakes are hydraulic at both ends, and the suspension is adjustable. The SSR has a high level of fit and finish that you might not expect in this price range. The 2024 model is shown here. The AJP SPR240, $5,499. The 2024 model is shown here. There's a whole family of small displacement 4-strokes from AJP. The base model is the SPR240, which has a very simple air-cooled motor and fairly sophisticated hybrid frame. The 240EX is a premium version of that with upgraded sack suspension and Brembo brakes for $5,999. At the high end is the SPR250 with an Asian-made liquid-cooled motor and an Italian-made GPR exhaust system that sells for $7,499. The Kawasaki KLX230R, $4,999. Kawasaki's little big bike was the beneficiary of a styling makeover for 2025, along with some engine updates and an increase in fuel capacity. It still features an air-cooled motor with a 6-speed gearbox. Kawasaki offers a version of the KLX230R with a shorter suspension travel for a slightly lower seat height, 34 inches versus 35.6. It's called the KLX230R S, and there's no difference in price. The Yamaha TTR230, $4,699. Yamaha hasn't paid much attention to the TTR230 in over a decade. That's why the price didn't go up for 2025. It has a carburetor and is air-cooled. All the tooling has long since been paid off. The bike does have electric start and a 6-speed manual gearbox. The wheels are a full-size 18-21-inch combo, and the seat height is around 34 inches. The exhaust is very quiet, and the bike is off-road legal. The Husqvarna TE150 two-stroke, $10,249. Last year, the Husky TE150 received throttle body EFI with an electronic power valve, and now it's been further refined. The TE150 makes excellent low-end power for a small displacement two-stroke. The price is intimidating though. It's built on the same basic platform as the TC150 motocross bike, but is far more expensive for reasons we don't quite understand. The KTM 150 XCW two-stroke, $10,199. Over the last 2 years, there's been a remake of all KTM two-strokes. Some weren't received as well as others. This one, however, was a hit from day one. The 150 XCW with throttle body fuel injection was a big improvement over the previous model, which had transfer port injection. The new 150 XCW still features PDS no-link rear suspension, a spring fork, and oil injection. The Beta 125RR X Pro two-stroke, $8,599. This is Beta's tribute to the most traditional two-stroke fans. The 125RR still has a carburetor, a mechanical power valve, a Kickstarter, and you get the satisfaction of mixing oil and gas yourself. For those who want more modern conveniences, Beta offers the 200RR with both electric start and oil injection. The 125 gets a number of upgrades for 2025, including new bodywork. The KTM 125 XC two-stroke, $8,499. For cross-country racing where displacement is limited to 125cc, the 125 XC is a pure-blooded competition bike. It's very similar to the 125 SX motocross model, but has a larger fuel tank, off-road suspension, a kickstand, handguards, and an 18-inch rear wheel. It got a new frame for 2025, as well as comprehensive programming updates. The Sherco SE 125 factory two-stroke, $7,999. Sherco did the unthinkable for 2025. The price of the SE 125 actually decreased. Compared to the previous year, the price has come down $600. Despite that, it got updates in the airbox, subframe, bodywork, handguards, and skid plate. The SE125 remains a mix of advanced and traditional technology with electric start, electronic power valve, and key and carburetor. The Yamaha YZ125X two-stroke, $7,199. There's still a place for the 125 two-stroke in the off-road world. The YZ125X is similar to the motocross version, but has an 18-inch rear wheel, O-ring chain, kickstand, and a fuel tank petcock with reserve position. The motor has a revised compression ratio, different power valve timing, and ignition mapping. The 6-speed gearbox and fuel tank capacity are the same as those of the MX model. The SSR XD150, $2,399. The 2024 model is shown. With a 17-inch set of wheels, the XD150 lands in the middle area between pit bike and off-road bike. We will lift it over the barrier because of its big bike styling, longer suspension travel, and hydraulic brakes. It has a backup Kickstarter lever and excellent fit and finish. The XD150 was formerly known as the SR150. The Kawasaki KLX140R, $3,699. No matter how big or small you are, Kawasaki has you covered with some version of the KLX140. The standard version has a seat height of 30.7 inches and a 14-17-inch wheel combo. The KLX140R has larger wheels, 19-inch front, 16-inch rear, seat height of 31.5 inches, and a price of $3,999. The KLX140R has a 21-inch front wheel, an 18-inch rear, and 12.4-inch ground clearance. It sells for $4,299. The Honda CRF 125F, $3,499. Back in the 60s, Honda more or less gave birth to the very concept of small bore play bikes. Today's CRF 125F carries that legacy forward, but has fuel injection and an electric start. There's still a backup Kickstarter. The clutch is manual and the gearbox is 4-speed. There's a disc brake in front and a drum in the rear. The standard version has a 14-inch rear wheel and a 17-inch front wheel. There's a big wheel version for $3,899. The Suzuki DRZ125L, $3,619. The DRZ125L is the very definition of No Frills Mini. It still has a simple air-cooled 4-stroke motor with an old-school carburetor. No electric start, no electronic fuel injection. It has a hydraulic front disc brake and a drum brake in the rear. The wheel measures 19 in the front and 16 in the rear. The Yamaha TTR125LE, $3,599. If you peek into the garages on your block, chances are there will be at least one Yamaha TTR125 within a few houses. They are everywhere. With that in mind, it's understandable that Yamaha hasn't changed it in over 20 years. It has an electric start, but the Kickstarter is still there if you need it. It also has a carburetor, a manual clutch, a drum rear brake, and 5-speed gearbox. Well, that wraps it up for the 2025 Off-Road Cross-Country Bike Buyer's Guide. We hope this helps all our viewers when they're out looking for a new bike they might be interested in buying. And we know a lot of people don't like to read, so we did a video version of what's already on the website at dirtbikemagazine.com. Thanks for watching and hanging with us, and we'll see you down the trail.